everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Susie von Slaughter.
I'm in Fuego here with another Patreon review, tag team in this one. No Cecil or Marcia, but we're still stoked to be talking about none other than Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson's film Spring. Shout out to SK, he's the guy who requested this, and honestly, we have done, we both watched The Endless and then Resolution. This is one that does not take place within that universe. This one is completely self-contained, and it's kind of a creature movie of sorts a little bit. There's some transformative stuff going on that we'll eventually get to, but yeah, long story short, it's kind of a love story, which hit me in the feels a little more than I was anticipating.
I was watching it, I was like, of course Jaime's gonna love it, because originally I wasn't going to watch this. I wasn't scheduled to watch this, and then I've been having some stuff going on in my life, and Jaime's like, you need to watch this. I was like, fine, and I'm so glad that I did. So I was leery because, you know, Jaime suggested.
We are not always on the same page when it comes to this stuff, unfortunately.
Great. It was really, really good. So
nice. I'm of the same ilk. I really, it got me in the feels more so than I anticipated. It was sweet, and yet it was also kind of scary and messed up, and I don't know. It was a layered film, which I greatly appreciated. So I guess we'll just rock through our normal tropes and stuff like that. So story essentially boils down to this guy, his mother is dying, and he's been caring for her, and once she finally passes, he goes out, he gets super faded at the bar, gets in a bar fight, thinks that there may be police after him for assaulting somebody, and so, lo and behold, what does he decide to do? He's going to go over to Europe, and he's going to have kind of a spiritual sabbatical, process all of this, and kind of hide away from a sticky situation at the same time.
I mean, who doesn't do that?
Huh? Guilty. Sometimes. Happens to the best of us. April's been a fun month.
Yay!
Seriously. But, so he gets over there and he starts palling around with, I can't remember if they were Irish or if they were British or whatever, but
They're British. They were just of the back, backwoods Brit.
They kind of seem to me, at least in my estimation. So they're going around, they're drinking, they're partying, they're doing their thing, and he ends up seeing this girl at this one particular spot where they're having a drink, and he balls up, nuts up, and goes to talk to her, and as opposed to sticking around with them, putzing over to, I think they said they were going to Amsterdam, and they want him to come with, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to stay here, I'm going to see what could potentially happen with this lady, and he starts working on a farm, or like a vineyard or something, I'm trying to remember, but he starts working at this spot. He finds a job, and he finds
it was just this older gentleman all by himself. His wife had passed away.
Yeah,
so
him too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so there were like grounds and basically manual labor for him to do in exchange for a little bit of money, presumably, and a place to live, and opportunity to try to charm this girl who you can tell she kind of likes him, but she's keeping him at bay. And eventually,
she's doing that typical girl thing, trying to be all super
all
mysterious.
About it, don't you?
Like, go on a date with me now. And he's like, maybe later on. She's like, no, leave with me now. And it's just like, I'm not interested.
Seize the moment kind of scenario, whatever. Yeah, he charmed her enough though for her to at least be like, well, let's see what happens, And as their relationship kind of develops, you start getting some of those little clues about why she's so mysterious, what is actually going on with her.
Right, yeah, that was really, because you're wondering, like, why, just her mannerisms, the way she's kind of going about things at only a certain amount of times.
And weird pets that she has around
and
stuff. And
just really strange, and she's very much into art. And, she took him for one of their dates, she took him to the museum that she worked at. And, she was asking him about very particular pictures after when you find out what's going on. Very particular ones. So, the relationship really starts to flourish. You see something happening. But then also, something horrible is going to happen because everything is working out so well.
And the horrible thing happening is as we start to realize more of what sort of creature she actually is, we find out basically that she transforms into a monster of sorts.
It's not
it's not even a monster, it's a changing monster because it's different each time.
Yeah, it's constantly changing. It's so strange. And so she has to, in order to keep her symptoms at bay, she injects herself with, I don't even know what it was.
It was something I can't recall.
Yeah, right.
Either,
and so
he takes her for a drug addict.
Yeah, so because he finds a syringe. Yeah, he finds a syringe, and so he confronts her about it, and she's like, no, that's not the case, you don't understand. And then finally, one night, he unfortunately stumbles across it firsthand, And it is probably the scariest thing, like, to come upon with something like that.
For someone that you've been intimate with and you're dating, and he's falling in love with.
Right.
You know?
It's just like, how do you come back from that? That's
And it's after she had dumped him too, remember?
That's right,
yeah. Because she has a scenario go down where she pretty much almost like dies or completely transforms over or whatever, and just narrowly is able to avoid that transpiring. And then she's like, okay, I gotta shut stuff down with him because it's just gonna end badly. And, you know, dude is hurt, he's pissed, he wants further explanation, she refuses to give it to him, and he decides to just show up at her house, and that's when he sees what she really is. And it's the best creature effects that we get in the entire film.
Which I think was totally worth it, though. I think it was very well done. Even though there wasn't a lot of it being shown, I think that was, like, just enough for you to get that idea and see why. Like, oh my god, I didn't even know what I was looking at when he came in.
It's an interesting design that we can get to once we hit the effects and stuff. But acting, did you think the connection and the chemistry between these two is believable? Did you like it?
She annoyed me a bit in the beginning, but after seeing, I guess, the situation at hand and what she was going through, I can totally understand. And also, you know, not only with her being this creature and what she was, she's lived for centuries, that those paintings that she was showing him, she was the one who was actually in those paintings. And what she would do is that she'd seduce these men, get pregnant, and her body would then absorb the baby somehow. Like, I don't even know. So she'd stay young and youthful for ever.
A ridiculous amount of time that she's lived for.
Right. And so, but that's the thing that was also the downside of it, because nothing ever comes for free. There's always
a price to
There's
pay.
always a price to pay. And, you know, what she had done, she did this ritual and whatnot so that she could stay young and beautiful. But because of that, with her changing so much, it was starting to get out of control, and she couldn't handle.
Well, because as she gets near the end of each of these cycles, so to speak, that's where it just gets tougher and tougher to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and she has to, you know, make that. I don't know. It's almost like coming out of a cocoon sort of thing, or she has to re-cocoon herself and then just come back out fresh again, so to speak. But I mean, I didn't like their chemistry as much at first, but it grew on me over the course of the film. Just like I didn't like the lead actor very much, at least initially, but as I saw what he was willing to, you know, get past and overlook.
My favorite is when he's getting told all this, he sees the creature, he's being told about how old she is and what she does with the babies, and then he calls his friend, he's like, wait a minute, and he goes to make a phone call home. He's like, I think I got this creature monster pregnant, and I'm in blah, 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 blah. And it's like, how do you process? I thought that was very believable. I really did enjoy that part because, yeah, how do you handle a situation like that, finding information like that?
But he gets past it convincingly, and he's just like, you know what? If I can handle something like this, I can handle anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
but
you're
then
like, okay, dear, that's dedication. You must really love this chick now.
Yeah, and so what it came down to is that the only way she'd be able to, I guess, keep her true form was if she found the love of her life. True love. And she'd never been able to find that because she kept changing. So that was the way she knew that she wasn't finding it.
And that was the concept that eventually got me, you know, jumping back to the last beat of the storytelling. I mean, that's what got me, was where we started this thing. It comes down, without spoiling stuff, to is he or isn't he? You know, and they have almost this little whirlwind final farewell of, you know, just going and hitting up a few different places and doing some traveling together.
Because she wasn't sure if she loved him. That's what it was. She's like, I
certain,
thought I was in love.
She didn't know.
Yeah, so honest to God, I thought she was gonna change at the end of it. Like, I thought it was gonna be like that kind of scenario that would happen, but it wasn't. So seeing that, I still enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy the acting, you know, being submersed into the movie more. So yeah. And
I mean, effects are pretty minimal, with the exception of the couple, you know, like turn scenes that we see, and it was a very unique design to, I don't know, the crazy succubusness at certain points was pretty nutty, and yeah, I don't know. I thought visually it was just very well shot. Honestly, the most cinematic of all the stuff that of the three films of this duo of directors that we have here, I felt like this was the most cinematic as far as sweeping shots, the fact that it took place in Europe and all the different places they were filming around there. I thought it was very beautifully put together, great cinematography. And but just keep in mind, everybody, the creature stuff is pretty minimal, and it is more so like drama, romance with some horror elements sprinkled in, as opposed to being full-on horror.
Right. I did enjoy the film, but again, between the three of them, I think that this one did fall a bit short between the three stories. Only because I really liked the concept of the movie Spring, but again, I just feel like there wasn't, something was missing. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. I wasn't like, I enjoy it, but it wasn't as great as the other ones.
But not the worst thing that Fuego has ever recommended.
Not the worst thing. I like how he managed to really wanted to put that out there. Not the worst thing.
Kind of succeeded here. You didn't absolutely hate the hell out of it.
No, I didn't. I did really enjoy it a lot. But if we were putting them up to the other two, I think that I like the idea. I like how they try to go about it. But I just feel like something kind of fell short with it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there isn't really much music-wise to speak of. It wasn't like a super recognizable score or anything. I mean, it was serviceable enough.
It was very raw, which I did like. So.
Yeah, but yeah, aside from that, it's definitely a drastic departure for Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who also did Resolution and most recently The Endless. Oh, yeah, both. Honestly, I just think all three of their films are so drastically different.
Yeah.
I mean, certain audiences will get things out of each one because they're just that, I don't know, creatively despondent. So well, there you go, guys. I guess that will wrap things up for our review of Spring. Shout out to SK once again for requesting this. We are so stoked to have you supporting this show. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, if you want to be a patron, you can jump below and get all of the information, because this will eventually end up jumping on the regular YouTube channel. So if you are seeing it there, thanks to you. Make sure to like and share and subscribe and hit that bell thingy so you get updates about all the stuff we do on the regular channel here, from trailer reactions to film reviews to convention coverage, everything under the horror umbrella, as our fearless leader often likes to say.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Susie Von Slaughter.
Gracias up and Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared!